from the 24th of the second month of 1444, celestial. 4 of Qin has heartful partnerships towards the true will. 10 of Ishki is the art of the relationship fulfilled. 4 of Air reversed is the attention between the positions. 3 of Ishki is the multiplication of the spirits with the sensitivity, empathy, and reactionary, with a cause of celebration. 3 of Air needs to compromise to bring the natural religion into acceptation. Aun ear of Ishki reversed brings innovation by the radiant, eternally beautiful, and eighth spirit fills Niam's imagination. The Banshee crone operates change in a way more about recognition than sacrifice and martyrdom. A female mound person is a hag that brings emotion to life. Bean Sound Koldiak takes the initiations willingly and without strife. Gaydal crosses out of winter, and Verdri of Chin is reversed. Blue Levada overcomes the cursing that is now rife. Flashing light supports the feminine with a long hand as life passes from maturity into the night. 2 of Daoin is ever moving with the decision. The Chariot reversed needs another horse for this realm. Karva now Aun Mori Gu and Aun reminds not to flee in fright. The jaw and boulder of Nightmare Queen Mother shifts in life and death to join the fight. The guide reversed is that you won't just gain might. Tre or A will be a guiding one for those shown to be of those who will bring out the right. And what are your initial thoughts on the poem and cards?
I am. In a lot of those cards, I saw physically working out one's path. Like there's a lot of work to doing things. There's ritual every day, and like it's cool to get help and things like that when you're a beginner like me on certain things. Yeah, it's awesome because I need it. That you like I can't be lazy. I have to do it. I have to do my own work. Nobody can do it for me. Just me. So, and that's a good thing. It's not a good thing to be lazy.
Well, that's the whole thing anyways, that regardless of the path, the actual thing is it's It's about what you really have to do for yourself. It's like it's like the people that like, oh well, Jesus died for my sins and all that. And but then they're like, you know, the Bible says that you have to prove yourself after that too. So I don't see what difference it makes if you have to do all the hard work anyways, just relying on somebody else. Um,
Yeah.
and acts so so these three cards, I think, of the Chariot reversed needs another horse for this realm. You know, remember that stuff about the three horse self? Well, I mean, someone who watches this is going to remember. You know, you got the, you know, in the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, and some other Hindu texts talk about the three horses, and the three horses are the three modes, and that's what relates to Ganesh too. Rather than thinking that it's really literally some elephant deity, you know, it's actually Lord of Hosts, kind of like the thing in the Bible, but people don't get that thing either. But anyways, Karva now aun mori gu an aun reminds not to flee in fright. The jaw and boulder of Nightmare Queen Mother shifts in life and death to join the fight. And so the Chariot, so okay, you don't flee, you know, you got to do your work. You can't escape your work. But then again, there's something beyond this life dealing with the work. It's not just the forms. But you got to be in those forms, you know, the modes you're at. The Banshee Crone operates change in a way more about recognition than sacrifice and martyrdom. A female mound person is a hag that brings emotion to life. Bean Sound Kol Yach takes the initiations willingly and without strife. And so, coupling those two together, it's important to remember that martyrdom isn't the purpose. You know, because people somehow, usually when they're mislabeling other groups, they're like, "Don't be a martyr." Either they don't want you to do something, or they're looking at it and they're like, you know, in other ways too. So, but yeah, it's not, the purpose isn't dying. It's you got to strive and do what you're going to do. But the death card, of course, you know, life and death are just full of cycles that you're working, and
yeah, there's definitely
it's a very winter card. Yeah. Remember how I said that's one of the cards to start the dark quarter and stuff like this.
There's definitely more to come. There's more to come. You know, there for a long time.
Because people are like, "Oh no, death! Death! I got the death card." It's like, well, you're going to get the card eventually. You know, you can't.
For the longest time, I believed it. I really believed it. Death, you just, after it happens, you're just gone. But no, I totally.
Well, one of the interesting things about the death itself, rather than the symbol and stuff like that, is when exactly does it happen? You know, it used to be the majority of people thought, oh, if we don't notice you breathing, you're dead. And now we find out, and then it switched to the heart, and it switched to the brain. And so when exactly does death happen, and when is it too late? Yeah, people be declared brain dead only about once a decade or something, but people declaring brain dead, digging their that were buried, but declared brain dead before they were buried. So no heart, no brain, no breath, nothing they were picking up with the modern medical stuff. And it was, of course, more common before that. It was just not talked about so much. And if somebody died in the ground because they whatever. So see, that's why you don't do all this extra stuff. aside from the fact it's a waste of resources or bad for the environment or whatever, you do all that extra stuff when you're people die. People, you can hear more cases of people dying on the embalming table than what I talked about, like a couple people that were literally buried after being declared brain dead and dug their way out after a couple weeks or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's something to think about. Kind of, yeah.
And that stuff with, and I don't know why that is that why they're coming up with this way of burying people? Now, I haven't seen it in person. They burying people like with clear coffins and stuff, so you can look down at your decaying relative.
I don't know about all that, man.
like remember that like the book that I released a video on, all that stuff about imagining yourself as a corpse and surrounded by rotting corpses and all that stuff, and it's like, yeah, that does something to someone, and I don't know how it's productive.
Yeah, it might be traumatic for some people.
Yeah, it's bad enough. It's bad enough when you visit a
A
graveyard,
little.
when you visit a graveyard and like that pile of boxes with the wall or something like this. That's the most likely place you're supposed to notice it. But like decaying chemical mess dripping from,
Yeah, yeah, I've seen. Oh, yeah,
yeah, that's,
yeah,
for the most part you just smell the horrible chemicals. But either way, it's just not
yeah.
something you want to deal with.
Most definitely not.
And oh, what's this one? The guide reversed is that you won't just gain might. Tre or a will be a guiding one for those shown to be of those who will bring out the right. And so it's the Hierophant, it's the master card, that sort of stuff. But the master, basically, it's to apprentice you. It's not that this father, mother, child, like on the Thoth tarot, is like over you. It's like you're becoming part of those mysteries, or an operator of those mysteries. I mean, there's real entities out there. I'm not saying that, but you know, and so rundown of the things. What? So we did air last time. So 3 cards to look for while we break and connect these to the others. The Ace and the Princess of Wands and the Ion card, which we brought up previously, but
Yeah.
the 2 of
Okay. The Aeon, Ace of Wands, and Princess of Wands.
okay, so we got the 2 of Daoine and is ever moving with the decision. Because so you break down, and then what happens here is it kind of divides all at once and kind of goes like that. So you're kind of juggling over, but then you're, you know, you go to the 3s, and the 3s are like, well, okay, it's in this Saturnal mode now, but it kind of divided over here and kind of did this at once. But it kind of juggling sort of thing. So you have the solar and the lunar principle. You have the difficulty of what's going on around, you know, I need to trim up the briar patches around here. Or maybe I don't. Maybe it's security of some sort. It's not really. People push through those things all the time.
I leave them thick.
But yeah, there's an unknown on both sides, but the path below is kind of easier to know, I guess. We have, okay, what was this guy? Okay.
Some work.
Gay doll crosses out of winter, and Rudri of Chin is reversed. Blue Vada overcomes the cursing that is now rife. Flashing light supports the feminine with a long hand as life passes from maturity into the night. Now, people usually say lamfada, but lu lavada is what I found for the pronunciation here. Of course, there's dialectical differences, but largely people are trying to pronounce things in other languages and don't know how they're kind of, and at the Gaelic and all sorts of stuff, it's so difficult in how it's spelled. Is it going to be pronounced exactly how it's spelled? Is there letters that you don't even say? Are there letters that you say? Is there things you say that aren't in the letters? So it has pretty much every problem of pronunciation you can think of.
Yeah.
I mean, except having unfamiliar sounds. But this guy is like a collector, right? So he's the king. He's the king because you see these cards and this some ridiculously huge sword, kind of like these guys online who have basically like surfboards with strings because they have like a guitar has 36 strings, and trying to compete with each other who has the biggest thing. It's like it's a harp now. It's no longer a guitar, it's a harp.
That many strings, yeah, definitely. That's a harp, boys.
Well, you can go all metal with the harp too, but
True.
Own Eater,
Eater
key
still.
reversed, brings innovation by the radiant. Eternally beautiful, and Yada Eighth is Aspen spirit, fills Niva's imagination. And to show real quickly here, so we were talking about the swords. Sometimes the Ace of Wands has this 22 flame thing going on.
Those colors
and the
awesome.
princess of the wand. I've done a video with my own version of the Princess of the Wand. The Princess of Wands it's like she's flying up too, kind of like this, kind of like the sword kind of does too.
The Princess of Wands.
Almost capricious and kind of honoring and whatnot.